Okay, hello and welcome everyone. It looks like we are live. Happy Thursday. If for those of us that are in the United States or if you happen to celebrate the 4th of July, I hope that everybody had a wonderful 4th of July. I hope that you had an opportunity to spend it with your families. I hope that you had an opportunity to relax. Maybe you got in some extra sleep. But I am so happy to be able to be back here and to enjoy this time with everyone here. If you are catching this either on a replay or you're here for the live stream, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to go ahead and join me here. And we're going to talk about something that's very simple, something practical, but I'm sure it is something that you will definitely be able to enjoy. And what that is why consistency beats motivation, right? I'm sure that life can get super crazy. I'm sure that things are always changing. But if there's one constant, it's that life is changing, but you are the one that are in control of your life. So you can definitely be the one to create some form of consistency in your day to day. So thank you everyone for taking the time to be with me. Just to introduce myself, if this is your first time, or even if you've been here before, my name is Will Zapata. I've had the pleasure of helping families convert over into solar power for close to a decade. But this series is our Beyond the Solar series where we take a moment and we have an opportunity to speak on the other portions of our life, right? For me, I talk about the things that I'm super passionate about, which is freedom, fatherhood, fitness, financial freedom and knowledge, and then overall working on being the best version of yourself so that way we can be a service to our fellow human beings. So thank you guys so much. I hope you're able to get a lot out of this today. We're going to talk about why consistency beats motivation, right? So just to like go ahead and jump right into it, I'm sure that we've all experienced this and we've gone through portions of our lives where listen, we're not feeling the most hype, we're not feeling the most motivated, maybe we're not feeling the most passionate, we're not feeling extremely fired up or driven, and we need to figure out a way how to get out of bed every single day, how to go out there and conquer the world, how to go out there and make the most of your day, right? Being 100% transparent with you guys, I don't feel like doing most of the things every single day. Even something that I love tremendously, which is fatherhood, right? Sometimes even I need to be able to recalibrate myself. I need to be able to ask myself, oh my goodness, why am I doing this again, right? Sometimes it's like, hey, in business, especially if things are not going correctly, you're asking yourself, why are you even doing this? Why are you even putting yourself through the sacrifices, through the hardships in order for you to be able to maybe grow your business, start your business, get up and be attentive to your children, get up and be attentive to your partner? All things that we don't always have the energy. We're not always excited to do it, right? And we're not always fired up or pumped to get right into it, right? And I understand that. I'm sure a lot of us do. This is where being consistent is going to be super important. Listen, it is not going to be glamorous. You're going to have more days where you don't feel like doing something that you know you should, right? You're going to have most of the time wondering, like, why are you even doing this? Why do you need to do those things? But the reason why consistency is so important is because you start to set a standard and a foundation for yourself, right? Even if, let's say, you're not feeling 100% motivated to, hey, let's say work out, right? But if you've created a regiment, if you've understood that you're human, right? If you've, given yourself a range where, you created a schedule for yourself and you stick to that schedule, that is going to be so much easier than you just doing it when you're motivated. Motivation is a feeling that goes up and down. It doesn't stay consistent, just like willpower, right? One of the conversations I was having with someone on my team, if they asked me, well, how are you able to get up and go work out, or what do you do when you're not feeling motivated? Well, what I do is I try to create life hacks where I look at myself, I look at the way that I operate, and I do things that are going to be beneficial or put me in a good position where I can get those things accomplished. So for example, I stick to a schedule when it comes to my running, right? I took the training as if I was going to run a half a marathon. I use that as a set basis where I know how many days I'm running out of the week. I know what days I'm running out of the week and how many miles or how long I'm supposed to run each and every one of those days. I create a balance where, hey, I do certain days where I do my longer runs, I do certain days where I do shorter runs, and then I leave an opportunity for rest in between, right? Especially if you're sore, especially if for whatever reason life happens and maybe you can't do the workout exactly how it's intended that day. You understand, but you operate in a manner that is conducive to you. As we mentioned, right? Willpower, motivation, those things do not stick with you for the long run, right? As a matter of fact, as the day goes on, your willpower is probably going to fade. So I do my best to get my workouts out of the way early in the morning, right? If I know that, during the day, I'm either going to have a hectic day or I just know myself. If it gets past 12 o'clock, in the afternoon, the likelihood of me doing a workout severely drops. Listen, if it gets past 8 o'clock in the morning and I have not done my workout, the likelihood of me doing my physical fitness drops dramatically. But because I allow myself, I give myself a window. Hey, between 5 and 7 in the morning, that's when I'm gonna get my workout in. Some days I get out of bed and I'm ready to go right away. Some days I'm dragging myself, right? I am, pushing myself. I'm calling myself every name in the book to just get out there. One of the reasons why I love to run, right, besides it being my time for meditation and my connection with the creator, is I don't have to do much thinking. I know my willpower, may not be the strongest, especially if I'm not feeling to work out that day, but if I just can put on my shoes and go for a run, that's it. I don't have to do too much thinking. I don't have to, figure out what I'm going to do. I just can get up and go, right? So having a consistent schedule is so important because, again, motivation and willpower, that is going to fade, right? You're not going to be able to stay the same way. You're not going to be able to stay consistent, without having some kind of schedule that you can adhere to. Now, going further into it, why building consistency is so important is because, as we mentioned earlier, you're going to build a foundation and a level of trust and confidence with yourself, right? Listen, some of us, where it's easier for us to either tell little white lies or not be 100% truthful, but it's so much harder for you not to be honest with yourself. And the first step with you being consistent is also being aligned with you being honest and truthworthy to you, right? Because at the end of the day, you probably are the most important person in your life, believe it or not. There are probably people that depend on you. There are people that probably count on you. There are people that probably look up to you. And by you being able to build a level of confidence, a level of consistency and trust, well, now you set a standard for yourself, right? And basically a standard or a foundation is something that you can stand on. You want to make sure that you're building a solid foundation, right? So if you say to yourself, listen, I'm somebody that works out. I am somebody that I read before I go to sleep. Or I'm somebody that's going to save, maybe 5 to 10% of my money. Or I'm somebody that's going to work on being a more present parent, a more present partner, right? When you actually start to create a pattern and some consistency that align with what you want to be, well, now the likelihood of you acting and behaving like that person increases, right? I read this great book one time, and it was talking about, habits that we build, habits that we, sometimes don't adhere to. But it all starts with the standards and the way that we think of ourselves. If you think of yourself as, hey, I'm physically fit. I'm somebody that works out my mind. I work out my body and soul. I'm somebody that I'm able to save. I'm able to invest. I'm an attentive parent. I'm an attentive partner. Well, now you've associated yourself with being those things, right? Now you've created consistency, right? Where now, hey, you have a schedule that you're adhering to. Now you're going to start to want to behave and act just like that person that you're saying that you are, right? You don't want to tell yourself, hey, it's hard for me to work out, or I wish I was more, motivated. No, right? You gotta behave, you gotta act, you gotta talk in the manner that you already want to be like. It's kind of like when they say fake it till you make it. Well, instead of actually faking it, right, because you're not being honest with yourself, just go ahead and create these small habits, create some small levels of consistency that now you can start to connect with yourself, and now you start to see yourself in that light, right? If you're the kind of person where you're like, listen, I eat healthy, I work out, I take care of myself, I matter, I'm important, I'm smart, I'm intelligent. You tell yourself that consistently, you are going to start to behave in that manner, right? And your behaviors are going to dictate what your habits are, and your habits are going to dictate what kind of future you can create for yourself. The reason why, for example, in business, no matter how I'm feeling, right, I am so thankful for my team because they give me the motivation and the reason to show up every day, right? And if I show up every day, that means I have to make something happen. Even if I don't want to, even if like it's raining, even if it's super, super tiring. No, you've decided that this is the kind of person that you are, right? You don't go back on your word. You say what you're gonna do and you do what you're gonna say. You've created some consistency, not just in your mind, in your body, in your soul, but in your subconscious, right? You ever had a situation where maybe it's eating away at your subconscious, or if I'm not being 100% honest, I have a hard time sleeping, right? Because that's who you've told yourself, and now your subconscious is reacting in that manner. I'm telling you, you start to build some consistency. You start to tell yourself, I'm the kind of person that works out. I'm the kind of person that does what I say. I'm the kind of person that I engage with my family. I engage with my partner. You're going to start to behave in that way, right? Because the last thing that you want to do is you don't want to lie to yourself. I know it could be easy, especially when nobody's watching, but deep down inside, you know that you're watching. You know that you're holding yourself to a standard. And even if you don't feel motivated, because you've created some consistency, now you're going to adhere to that. Right now, you're not going to let yourself down. Right now, you're not going to lie or cheat yourself by not doing what you need to do. The second reason why consistency is awesome is because it builds momentum, right? How much easier is it to do something when you've already been doing it, right? When you've had a track record of you getting up every single day and you're going out to work out. Now it makes it so much easier because, again, it takes away the thinking power, right? I love to do things that are simple. I love to create hacks for myself that I don't have to do a lot of thinking. Part of the reason I tell you, why do I always like to, do the same thing, right? Look, in these live streams, I like to wear the same shirt and tie, right? Even if it's hot, even if it's cold, even if I don't want to, even if it's, whatever reason it might be. But that is me creating some kind of level of subconscious. That's me creating a subconscious level of consistency, right? I gotta show up. I got the shirt. As soon as I put on the shirt and I get ready for the live stream, I gotta show up, man, because I've already created some consistency. I wear this every single time, so I'm like, this is what I gotta do, right? Because I don't want to let anyone down. Most importantly, myself, right? I'm the one that's created a schedule for me that says, hey, every single day I do this at this time. I do it in this way. I put on my shoes this way. Doesn't mean that you can't have flexibility, of course, right? But again, you want to be able to do things that make it easier on your willpower. If you understand that you're like, listen, it's hard for me to, use my willpower certain parts of the day, or it's hard for me to have to overthink things, or I don't want to have to overthink things. It is so much easier for you just to take away the things that take up any thinking power. Make it as simple as possible. That's why automation is great, right? One of the things that I do is I keep my wardrobe super simple to a minimum. I don't want to have to think about what I'm going to wear. I don't want to have to think about how I'm going to look or anything of that nature, right? I like to keep things super simple because I know that I need to use my brain power. I need to use my thinking for other things, right? I know that throughout the day, my willpower is going to go down. That's why it is so much easier for you to want to grab on some maybe unhealthy snacks later on at night because you've already used up a lot of your willpower during the day. So go ahead and create some hacks. Look, I use this phrase, right? I'm ambitiously lazy. Why do I say that? Because I know most of the times I'm not gonna want to do things. Most of the times I just want to sit around, maybe read a good book. I just a lot of things in my day that I don't want to do that I know I have to do. So what do? I just create a simple way of doing things. I create little life hacks. I automate what can be automated, right? I delegate what can be delegated, right? And then I eliminate the things that don't matter, right? So now I'm creating momentum. I'm creating consistency. And everybody has their own rhythm. Everybody has their own way that they like to cha cha cha. Figure out what works out for you, right? Figure out what's the best way that you can get to do things that might seem hard. Figure out what's the best way that maybe you could, delay gratitude, whether that be like, hey, before I enjoy my food, I'm going to have a great workout. I know I love to do that, right? One of the things that I like to do to enjoy my food is, hey, I'm gonna fast, right? Because that way I can go ahead and I can create momentum with me living a healthy lifestyle. I can go ahead and create some consistency in what goes in my body. How do I take care of my body? How do I take care of my mind, right? All things that, again, you know yourself best. Take the opportunity to learn who you are, learn how you operate, right? See what works, see what doesn't work, but stay consistent in you getting to improve on yourself and understanding yourself better, right? And then lastly, why is consistency so important? It helps you grow quietly. It's not a race, guys, it's a marathon, right? The things that you want out of life, they're not going to happen overnight, right? The way that you want to live, maybe right now, it may take some time for you to get there. I promise you that you continuously working on yourself, even when you don't want to, that's what's ultimately going to give you the life that you need, because you understand that everything is done step by step. Look, great example, I'll tell you guys, this is a real life thing, right? For me, I love helping people. I think I've probably mentioned it before. I enjoy being able to get up and help people and just hear out their problems, right? Just understand what they're going through. I love having interactions with people. I think I said that my ideal situation would be to be like a consultant or just an ear to help people become the best version of themselves. Well, I know that's not going to happen overnight. I know that no matter how hard I wish it, I can't just wish it and let that happen. I got to do those small things every single day that's going to eventually get there. Whether that is, hey, I got to stay physically fit, because if I don't feel good, how am I going to help other people feel good? Hey, I got to continue my learning, right? Because things are always changing, things are always evolving. And if I don't evolve and grow, then how can I help other people evolve and grow? Hey, I got to make sure that I'm spiritually good. Let me check out my spiritual bank account, right? Let me see what that looks like. I got to make sure that I'm spiritually healthy, because how can I connect with people on a deeper level if, I don't feel good about myself spiritually? All things that I do on a day by day basis, right? I have to figure out, what is it that I'm taking into my body? What is it that I'm allowing to come into my mind? All the little steps that are needed in order for me to eventually be able to get to where I want to get. Have you ever had a situation where you never thought that you were going to get out of, or you never thought that you would be in the place that you're in today? And then all of a sudden, before you know it, boom, you've gotten to, the goal that you've been working for so long. One of my goals that I've had for a really long time is I've always wanted the opportunity to work from home. I've always wanted the opportunity to have freedom. I've always wanted the opportunity to dictate how my day goes, right? And it didn't happen overnight. I spent well over a decade or more of me having to do things that I didn't want to do, working jobs that I didn't want to work in, positions that I just was not interested in. But what I did is I was just consistent. I showed up every single day. I did what I needed to do, and I understood that I have an overall like big term goal that I want for my life, that I want to have for my children, that I want to have for my children's children. I have this audacious, huge plan that I know I'm currently understandable. Like, hey, this is not gonna happen overnight. This is not gonna be easy. But what I can do is day by day, I can show up, I can be consistent. Even if I'm not motivated, even if I don't want to, I know that I can just, hey, I can count on my calendar. I can count on my consistency. I can count on me showing up every single day, because when I don't feel like it, I know that that's what's going to hold me, right? Again, willpower is not infinite, right? Motivation is not infinite. It comes and goes. I'm sure that we all feel it, right? So listen, go ahead and build a system that works for you. I love systems. right? I love things that take away the thinking out of it, right? For me, I love to let my imagination be free. I love to do what I like, what I call playing. I love to just let my mind roam, right? So I like to depend on systems that are going to help me do the things that I don't want to really do, right? Like I said, for me to show up, I put on the same shirt every single day because I know once this shirt is on, I'm ready to go live stream, right? I love running. Why? Because all I have to do is put on my shoes. I'm ready to go running, right? I love to have a consistent time that I know, my son's gonna go to sleep. Why? So that way, he's on a schedule and he's ready to get up. I'm ready to get up too, right? Think about the way that you want to live your life, right? Ask yourself if what I'm doing is working. If it's not, create a system that works for you. We're all individuals. We all like to live a certain lifestyle. We all have different things that make us happy. And it's a ongoing, basically, learning experience about yourself because you're going to change just like the world is going to change, right? You know that, hey, this is not a sprint. I just need to figure out what is the tree in front of me? How do I get past that tree so I can see the next one? And you just take it day by day, right? It's not going to happen overnight. Don't overstress yourself. Don't worry. Life is a beautiful thing. You every single day that you wake up and you're healthy, you have an opportunity to work on yourself, right? So take advantage of it. Create a system that works for you and then go ahead and live the most beautiful, the most consistent, happy life that you can, right? So tonight I want you to reflect is like, okay, just some things that we can take away or things that we can think about is where do I need to be more consistent? Is it in my workout? Is it in my relationships? Is it in my finances? Is it in my health? Is it in my spirituality? Where do I need to be consistent more in, right? And what does one area in my life needs to, less hype and needs to be more steady, right? Like what part of your life needs to be less rah-rah and just needs to be like, hey, I just need more action in it, right? Do I need to just get up and go to the gym? Do I need to just, hey, I'm just going to shut down and give myself a technological fast, right? Maybe I need to go ahead and just give myself and my mind time to breathe. And usually it's going to be things that you feel like are the hardest, right? I always like to tackle, or I always like to tell myself, whatever I feel like I don't want to do, that's really the hardest thing for me to do, that's probably what I need to be doing. That is my subconscious telling me that I deserve more, that I'm capable of more, just like I'm sure that you know that you're capable of more, that just like you know that you can do more. So I hope that you was able to find goodness in what we were saying. I hope that you were able to benefit from what we had a chance to speak about. I also hope that this resonated with you. Please follow us on all our other social media platforms. Send me some messages. I want to be able to engage with people. Like I said, right? Look, today, right? Like I mentioned today, it's all about consistency, right? I know that this is not going to happen overnight. I'm hoping that regardless of how long it takes, with the blessings of the Creator, I'm able to be in a situation where I can talk to great people all over the world. I can speak to people of different backgrounds, different experiences, and then I can learn from other people as well. So if you found this valuable, please shoot us a comment, shoot us a like, shoot us a follow, send this to somebody that can also benefit as well, or maybe give me the opportunity to connect with them. I'd love to be able to help any way that I can. I hope that everybody has an amazing rest of their day, rest of their evening, rest of their afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Many blessings, and everybody, please take care. Until next time.